Hello there, and thank you so much for joining us right here on Transforming Families. I hope you are doing well. I am keeping well, and I'm really glad that we're able to meet yet again on this episode. My name is Faith Kaulu, and I have realized that in every episode that we have talked about transforming families, we have almost forgotten a very important area, and these are children. You know, because we can't have a whole family if children are ill-mannered or if their needs and wants are not given a priority as well. And so today I want us to touch on parenting in reference on how can we bring up our children in the right way, impacting good behavior, knowledge, and as well as ensuring that they are comfortable and provided for. And so to help steer this conversation to the right direction is with me, Reverend Edward Karanja, who is a minister with the Presbyterian Church of East Africa, as well as a marriage and family therapist. Asante sana, Rev, for being here.
Thank you very much, Faith. It's always such a pleasure to be with you.
Yeah,
and
sure.
Also to be at Transforming Families program and with my dear Professor Catherine Gashoda, because as we say it here in Transforming Families in CAC TV, stable families for a stable society.
A sure thing.
And that stable family involves the children.
Yes, it does. It does. And that is our joy, to see that families are being transformed for the better.
Sure.
And now the very far end is the amazing Professor Catherine Gashuda, who is the director of the Kenya Institute of Business and Counseling Studies, as well as a counseling psychologist. Asante sana, Prof, for being here.
Yeah, hi Faith, hi Leverett.
Hello.
Always happy to be here. Especially when you are talking about children.
Yeah.
Children are, parenting is a passionate subject in my heart.
All right.
Because when children are brought to us for treatment, I always feel if parenting was done better, these children would not be in therapy.
Yes, yes. So you agree that this is a very timely topic and very important for us to have this discussion here.
Indeed it is.
All right. Let's start with looking at if really one needs training in order to become a parent. You see, this is something we never really consider, because sadly now we have people becoming parent unplanned, because you unexpectedly find yourself pregnant, you are not ready, you are not aware, and there's so much uncertainty surrounding that issue. So I want us to look at if preparations had been made. You know, like, I want to become a parent. Do I need to attend any classes? Do I need any counseling? How do I prepare myself in order to be a better parent once I get there? Is there a need for such, in order to become a better parent, just generally? Let's start with you, Prof.
Yeah, you know, when the Bible says train up a child in the way he should go, and even when he's going to be grown up, he will never turn away from that way. It talks about training, and training, anyone who does the training has to have a syllabus or a curriculum. So then this person who is training, who is the parent, needs to have the know-how, needs to have the right attitude, and needs to have the skills for this parent to be able to train the child in the way he should go, so that that load is a load of success for the child and not a load of failure. Meaning that parents then need to be resourceful. And for one to be resourceful, then you need to go through a particular experience. It may not be you have gone to a classroom and this is where you're being taught about parenting, but it can be through mentorship, it can be through coaching from others that are older than you, and other parents who have children in other developmental stages. And because you have little children, you are learning from them, their mistakes, their strengths, their abilities and strategies and skills that they have been using in order to make sure that they are equipping these children to be able to live life ably. And therefore that mentorship is key. But the other thing that helps people to be equipped, to be a trainer, to be a coach, to be a mentor, is to go to that classroom. That you can get knowledge and you can get skilled and tooled for you to be able to ably parent and be able to evaluate where you are at with every one of your children, because every child, just like you mentioned needs and wants, every child has wants and needs that are different depending on where they are at in their own life.
Yeah.
And you as a parent, because sometimes as parents we lump children together and we imagine we can parent an adolescent the same way we are parenting a younger child, and that makes the older children feel not respected by their parents.
Right.
So then going to a classroom is a good thing for one to consider. But the other thing that parents need to consider is going to therapy, for them to be able to discuss their parenting, to be able to look at their challenges, their gaps, and to see how they can be able to fill in their gaps through the discussions that they are going to have with the therapist. I have seen, like, when like one is a new mother and you're giving birth for the first time, and yes, you went for therapy before you went to give birth or you went for delivery. But then after delivering, you find this individual again getting postpartum depression. Why? Because still there is a certain form of unpreparedness that one now experiences when you are now doing the practicals than the theory that you are doing when you are projecting how you're going to be a parent. And therefore, counseling or having a psychologist being there at that time expands the capacity. If this child is going to cry throughout the night, then this mother will come to realize, I need to increase my patience so that I'm not getting frustrated and I'm not getting stressed simply because I am feeling this child is becoming too much. Why can't the child tell himself or herself to sleep so that I can also sleep, you know? So you require someone to keep on telling you, that is how parenting is, has always been. Expand your capacity and it's going to be well.
Yeah.
But the other thing that needs to happen, especially in our churches, are support groups where parents can come and sit together and talk about the challenges and the successes they are going through, and encourage each other and help each other to do parenting in ways that are going to be beneficial to the children.
All right. Rev, when people are planning to get married, they attend premarital counseling classes.
Yes, they do.
I don't know if when people are planning to become parents, there is one for them. And if there isn't, is there a need for such in the church?
Different churches do things differently.
Sure.
Even in our training, when we train people to be ministers, the training also happens differently. When you do theology and you go through 3 years of theology, we don't do a lot of practical theology. And the practical theology is what now we do, like what in the pastoral care and counseling. And that's why personally, after I had gone through my theological training, even did a master's in theology, I went back to school and, you know, with guidance professor, and I did a bachelor's degree in counseling psychology. And the reason as to why I did the bachelor's degree in counseling psychology, it first off started as a therapy. I lost my grandmother who was very close to me. And, you know, handling that wasn't easy. So she took me through the therapy. After that, I got the interest of studies. Then I did a bachelor's degree in counseling psychology. And they discovered that practical theology or practical ministry training is something I was lacking in my theological training. I lacked the practical ministry training, and I had to go into that because it is very important to take people through premarital counseling. Even the premarital counseling we take through people, when you do theology by itself, you don't get that. You have to look for it yourself as a minister in the practical ministry, realize that this is necessary or important for you to do. And so that's why I went back to school to do that, and of course interest in books and reading here and there. We prepare people for marriage. It is important for also people to go for the lessons prior to getting children, to being parents. It is important to do that because you are a first-time parent. You do not know how to go about this. And the reason as to why today, before I marry people, I take them through also a lesson on children. It is part of the the premarital sessions. I take them through the issues of the parenting, because I saw what I went through in my wife when we got the baby. Nobody trained us. Didn't have a mother there. Her mother wasn't there. So the lucky thing was that we had a house girl. The house girl had a child, and we treasured her to date. We even helped her a lot, to be able to set up her own life. If, we had said she would not be a house girl again after leaving a house, which by God's grace she isn't. She helped us with the simple things, kuosha mtoto, kujua vile mtoto anaangaliwa, cause her she had the experience. But now it is way more than that. There is the issue of the pregnancy. How do you go through the pregnancy? Or for a lady, you need someone to prepare you for that, to know what is the expectation through this. We also to go through something with the couples. What is it that you need in terms of how long do you want to wait before you can get a baby? If you want to wait for 6 months or 1 year before you get the first baby, then what do you need to do? In terms of family planning methods, what do you need to do? Do you need to play with your fertility before at least you have gotten your first baby? Then you're all over having pills and all these other things. Those are things that we discuss with the couples. Of course, from the knowledge that I am not a medic, I am doing it from a counseling point of view. That's what I do.
Yeah.
And it's important for them to know, because the couples need to also get prepared psychologically to know, one, the pregnancy can have challenges. Even conception can have challenges. You can fail to conceive. So what do you do if you fail to conceive? Then there's also the issue of you have conceived, that the pregnancy could have issues. And the doctor could even advise that the pregnancy needs to be terminated. What would happen in such a case, in case the doctor tells you that? So you prepare the couple through that. Suppose completely you're not able to conceive. What are the options on the table? So get to the children. You have conceived. Probably you get a baby and the baby is incapacitated. The baby you have gotten over here. Yeah. You are all over waiting for a child that is full with all the capacities. The child doesn't have the proper capacities. Here it is incapacitated. How do you handle such a child? So it's important for the couples to be taken through a training throughout. Yeah. Simple things. How do you go about the naming of the children? So do you get the babies and you want to name the child Jabali, and your mother says the child must be called Mwende, and there's no other things like that. And you're saying no. Your father says the child must be called Kahiga. Kahiga is a stone. And then you're saying stone is Jabali in Swahili. So I want to call the child Swahili Jabali, which is the same as Kahiga. And your father says, I am not Jabali, I am Kahiga. And the baby must be called Kahiga. Now, you need training for parenting. It's very, very important. Then, the parents need also to understand the stages the child goes through. From 0 to about 7 years, when the child builds the trust. Are you there for the baby? As the baby builds the trust. Then there's the issue when the child goes the stages of starting to doubt the parent. And the child gets to that stage, about 8 to about 12, 13, where they doubt you. They start wondering whether you know everything in the world. Then, of course, there's the stage that you take the parents through. And they require that, between the 13 and about 19, when the child looks at the parents as being hopelessly outdated. Your child looks at you and wonders, so do you ever know anything in the world? You would know nothing. So it is important for every parent to be taken through the training and the expectation. Most of the fights you see between parents and the children is lack of understanding, is lack of training. And like Prof says, that the issue of the parenting is very much at her heart. I really enjoy, the issue of working with the children, because it's very important. Because you mismanage a child. Simple, stage 1, 0 to 7, you mismanage that child at that stage. They get fixated at it. If you do not help them to navigate through every stage of life, in future, it will manifest itself. Yes. So it's important from the word go for a parent to be taken through the training of parenting. Okay.
Yes. All right. A lot of cases of postpartum depression are on the rise, and people are now openly talking about it, to get help, to create awareness. But we have also a group of people who say, I think young mothers are being depressed because you don't have the grace, because you're not prepared, because you don't plan for it well. What is your view on this, Prof?
20th century, 21st century are different, or before the 20th century.
Yeah.
Because parenting was different, and therefore children grew to become very resilient because they were going through a lot of challenges growing up with limited finances for most of the children, especially in the African continent. And therefore they grew up being survivors, and they were growing up also taking care of younger siblings. So you already are like a mother. You have gone through a training of taking care of babies and carrying them on your back and feeding them, even making sure that you're providing for the children even when mom is not there and has gone farming. So those children then, they had a lot of experience in taking care of babies. And now we come now to 21st century. And the ones that are now parents in the 21st century are individuals who grew in families where there were fewer children. And you didn't have the responsibility of taking care of your siblings behind you. And so they lack in that experience to take care of a little child and to know the challenges and the dynamics of taking care of a little one. So you're coming to parenting when you have no idea how little children behave. And at the same time, for a big population of those children, and especially the ones that are brought up in the urban areas, not in the rural areas, they were pampered so much. And they were the receivers of care, not the givers of care, like I said there before. And so when you're put in the position of being the giver of care, you don't know how to. And emotionally, you don't want to.
Yeah.
Because you believe you're the one to be taken care of, not you taking care of a child. And because taking care of a child is quite a challenge, because this is a child who is looking up to you for all the needs, changing the diapers, feeding the child, making the child comfortable, getting the child to learn routines, a lot of those things when a child is small. Now, what that does to a new mother or a new parent is that you're thrown in a not knowing situation, and you don't know how to come out of that, and therefore you start feeling hopeless and sad. You start not enjoying being a parent and celebrating your child. And the negative feelings that start creeping in start giving you the postpartum depression. Because now it is not, you're not happy in a growing situation, in a growing task. That means that you're going to continually become negative, and the feelings that you have inside yourself are those of self-pity. So we can see the preference is going up, and the need for preparing the young mothers, not only before they give birth, but even after they give birth, so that whatever challenges they are going through or are accruing during that period of time can be kicked out with the support that they are getting.
Probably, is it necessary for us to go back to, in the past, parenting was for the whole society? Mtoto ni wa jamii. Will that help?
It can help if it was possible, but it would be very difficult for us to go to the traditional Africa where we used to stay, or people used to stay in one household, and there were many, the aunties are there, the grandparents are there. Now this is a situation where there are intermarriages, people have come out of the rural areas, and therefore that kind of an arrangement where we are having the community taking care of children may not be something that we'll ever capture.
All right.
We can create our own communal way of taking care of children, where like we tell each other with Reverend and other friends of ours, we will make it our duty to make sure that we are concerned with all the children, all our children, and that each one of us is going to be taking responsibility in the areas they feel very strong in to take care of these children. And therefore, that communal way of taking care, where you have created your own community, is very possible. We have come through, I and Gashoda, taking care of a girl who is getting married, or our daughter who is getting married. And we have seen friends coming in very hardy. We had a session on mothers' conversations with the bride. And mother's conversations with the bride was what I wished I would be told that I was not told. And situations I found within my marriage that actually threw me off balance. And what I did about that. And listening to the mothers becoming daring to be honest. And answering the questions that were coming from the young girls that were together with the bride was very humbling. And at the same time, we had fathers' conversations with the bride. And there were fathers beyond 55 years of age, and also fathers coming out bluntly to the bride and saying, this is what a man needs from a young lady who has gotten married. And throughout your life cycle, these are the expectations that are going to be there. So communal parenting can be cultivated in that way, where friends come and they're supporting you in areas where you feel you can't. You are limited as a parent. You need others to come on board. But then that means that we need to strengthen our relationships. We need to strengthen our relationships with friends so that they can come in, and we need to contract for it, because when we contract for it, things get better. One of the things that I loved in it all was when the people who were supporting us, and very good friends of ours, because they are the ones who bested us during our silver jubilee. They said, this girl cannot come out of this home until she's blessed. And we are going to slaughter a goat so that we can bless this girl. And we can bless her in all ways, meaning that we needed to invite people who are very close so that they can come and speak words of knowledge to her, and then we bless the girl. Meaning that we create our own communities that are going to work for our own children in different developmental stages, when they are going through different transitions in their own lives, or even when they are not going through a transition, but they would want to ground themselves in whatever stage of life that they are in. If we do that, then things are going to be better. But we can't go back to the traditional Africa, where family members and the extended family used to bring in their resourcefulness for the child to grow.
All right, that's very well put.
Yes, I was actually up to say exactly what Prof has said, so I will skip most of it, because when you say that traditionally, the way the family, the child was parented by everybody in the community, the family parented the child, that traditional way of bringing up children, we got to face it, it's no longer there. No matter how much we want it. The way I would walk from school and I misbehave, and a parent along the way would get a whip and whip me along. Now that we have to accept that it is no longer there with us. Even in the extended family, the brothers and the sisters taking care of their children, their brothers' children or sisters' children, is no longer there, because we are not living in the traditional home. We are living in estates and farms where we have everybody coming to buy and stay in the midst. We are living in apartments in the urban center, where people do not have the same family values. and you go to accept that they don't have the same religious values, they don't have the same community values. So the diversity that we are in today is also important for us to accept that's what it is. The best is what Prof has just explained about the daughter situation, whereby you have friends that now you cooperate with them. These friends may not necessarily be your immediate neighbors. Some could be far away, but now you parent the children together because you don't parent your child alone. You know, you don't have the monopoly of knowledge and information. So you need others to also try to fill you in. And when the child knows there is that other mother, that alternative father in my life, if they wanted to tell you something as a daddy or a mommy and they think you don't understand, they can get opinion from that other father, that other mother. So today, what we have, we build a community, not the automatic community like the traditional community. But now, we still can have the social parenting, but a deliberate social community that one creates as a parent.
Okay.
Yes.
And with that said, we are taking a very short break right here on Transforming Families, but do not move a muscle because we'll be right back in a few.
PCEA Sarah High School is a Christian boys boarding school located in Mashuru, 20 kilometers from Emali along Emali-Oloitoktok Tarmac Road. We offer solid quality education through our well-trained and qualified teaching staff. We equip our students to develop into effective young adults and world citizens. PCEA Sarah School is a rapidly growing school and is proud to be taking excellent students to university. PCEA Sarah High School integrates co-curriculum activities such as drama and sports that students perform well, especially during inter-school competitions. Welcome to PCEA Sarah Boys High School, and let us enrich your son with outstanding academic abilities. We're accepting admissions for Forms 1, 2 and 3. Get in touch with us today on 0721 461857 or 0714848630. PCEA Sarah School, excelling in knowledge and character.
PCEA Shalom Model Academy is a faith-based day school which is anchored on Christian principles. Currently, our classes are running from playgroup PP1 up to class 6. From July this year, we shall have class 7, and next year, May, we shall have our first candidate class. We nurture a holistic child that is physically, socially, emotionally, and spiritually. Our school has the best facilities to be able to implement the competency-based curriculum and the 844 system of education.
We offer education that provides opportunities for the learner to develop to the full potential. We promote acquisition of values geared toward developing a self-discipline and ethical citizens. We provide inclusive and equitable access to quality and differentiated education, including learners with special and educational needs and disabilities.
We train kids in games such as volleyball, football, netball, geomax, and many more. We also train kids in clubs such as French Club, Scouts Club, Music Club, and Drama Club.
Our pupils within Kabete, Kikuyu, and its environs are facilitated with school transport that is well coordinated by our very able team. Our interviews are ongoing for all classes at an affordable fee. We are giving a good offer on fee payment for those ones joining class 7 this July.
We are very proud to be affiliated to PCEA Shalom Model Academy, Zambezi.
All right, welcome back to Transforming Families, and thank you so much for keeping it right here. Remember, today we are talking about parenting and how we can positively impact the lives of our children. Well, before we took a break, we had agreed that we cannot go back to communal parenting, but we can definitely create a society, you know, that would bring support, help each other if need be. And I'd like us to talk about something in relation to that, about the godmother and godfather. How impactful is it to our children? We'll start with you, Rev.
Godmothers, godfathers are impactful, but can also be destructive. It purely depends on who those godfathers and godmothers are. How well are they connected to the family? I always tell children, not everybody has your best interest at heart. The person you can be so sure has your best interest at heart is your mother, your father. No matter how mean you think they are, but if there are people who wish you well, would want you to prosper, want you to do well in life, are your parents. Don't ever think that my father, my mother hates me, doesn't love me. So these are the father, these are the mother, is good but not good enough. So I may have my children may have a godmother, but I would still not trust the godmother 100% one-on-one with my children. I will also still want to know what is it that they are talking about, what is it they are guiding my child about, because human beings are inherently selfish. And you do not know who has the best interest of your child at heart. Maybe if your child is doing very well, someone else may start feeling like, this should be my child. And since you do not know, ako kashetani katamuingia lini, you know, you know, of wishing that it is my baby who was going this way, you don't know when that devil can come into that person and derail your child. So I am like, godparents are good, but not to be trusted 1%. Just in case, you know, they are good, yes, but you never know. Like I have said, ako kashetani kanaweza kumpitia siku moja. Anytime. Na umemwachia mtoto, then along the way, the baby goes the wrong direction. Yes.
So then it is safer to have none and bring your child up, of course, with the society, asking for help here and there, but not specifically having one person as the godmother or the godfather.
Yes, I would rather you create the social community where we have like 3, 4, 5 parents together, we are friends, we hang out, we parent our children together, as opposed to entrusting my child to a particular mother, to be the godmother, a particular father to be the godfather for the rest of their life. Just in case, like I'm saying, I have no monopoly of knowledge. That godfather, godmother has no monopoly of knowledge. So in case they derail my baby, then my baby is completely derailed. Yes.
Prof, do you agree, or are you of a different opinion?
I grew up in the Anglican Church, and the issue of the godparent is very strong, is a very strong culture within the Anglican community. And you choose your godparent, and your godparent is supposed to walk you through the journey. I still can remember my godparent, and she still calls me even to today. And godparents have to commit that they are going to walk the child the journey during baptism, and that they are going to make sure that this child is going to grow in a godly way. I think what happens is that they are not trained. They are not trained on their role of becoming godparents, and therefore the fact that they are having gaps and they are ignorant, they are not able to play their roles very well of God parenting the children or God parenting those that they are standing in for. And therefore something needs to come in there where they are trained and they are helped to see, even if it is manualized training, because that manualized training will look into different aspects of what you need to inculcate in this child who is growing up and the child that you are God parenting. But then there are mentors, and mentors can be assigned or not assigned. Because it can just come out very naturally, and you are a mentor to particular children. But then there is assigned mentorship. Assigned mentorship where you're playing the role of a godparent, because the spiritual element is still key to the mentor. And I see it a lot in schools, and I used to help schools come up with the mentorship program where we are looking at the older children mentoring the younger, or even the adults, the big boys, the big girls, or even the adults mentoring the others. The girl that I was talking about, our daughter, our firstborn, we assigned a mentor when she was in Form 1. We had gone for an event, and there were young children that were there, and so we said, why don't we appoint mentors for the children who are here? And from that time, that mentor took it very seriously, that she is in charge of that child.
Yeah.
And she was the last person who had to talk with our daughter to kind of have a conversation, and they look through, they review the journey they have come through, and they also project how life is going to be into the future. I think because of the commitment that she had and that she took it very seriously, I don't think every mentor who was assigned during that time took it as seriously. As a person, I think she chose to take it very seriously, because every time she talks to me, she tells me, and how is my mentee? And I want to know how my mentee is going on in school. I want to know how my mentee is continuing with work. I want to know how my mentee is taking this journey to marriage. So that taking seriously, I hope we can have mentors and godparents who can take that seriously. My godparent still calls me to today. My parents are long dead. But they still, this godparent still feels it is my responsibility, because I swore before God that I am going to take care of this one. So even if she's old, she still tracks me down in terms of my spiritual journey. Yeah.
So it's a matter of it being taken with the seriousness it deserves, as well as this person being trained.
Yes, I think training would do a lot of good.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about, in the first part you mentioned that, bring up a child in the right way and they will never depart from it. But we just have, I don't know how to put it, but troubled children. You have tried your best as a parent, but they're still indisciplined, they still cause chaos here and there. And at some point we have parents who've disowned their kids and said, you've caused enough trouble, I think it's about time you became independent. As a parent, how best should one handle such a situation? Rev?
Children go through many stages in life, and it's important for the parent to understand. Like St. Augustine said, give me a child up to the age 12. Take it away till you come back to me, because that's the formative stage of a child. That's the time the child internalizes the values of the parents and the world around them. So if the child did not have the parents to internalize their values, and the parents were not with them, the values the child will be carrying along are not the parents' values. So, and most of the parents will not be saying, I disowned you before age 12. No, even before 13. Mainly they will be saying, I disowned your child because the child is a teenager. They are 15, they are 17, 18, 20, 21, around there, especially between the ages of about 15 to about 21. 20, that's the moment there are so many fights between the parents and the children, and they disown them. But maybe the parent was very busy as they grew up. They left the child to the house girls. So the values the child have internalized are the values of the house helps, not the values of the parents. So by this time, the parent is trying to guide the child a certain way. The child doesn't know you.
Yeah.
You have given birth to them. They are your children. They're in the house, but they do not know who you are. So they have different values, and you want to disown them. One of the things I would say clearly to the parents, no matter what happens to the child, either they have turned to addiction of a kind. Never disown your child. how do you disown blood? You can publicly say, I have disowned you. But the fact remains that child is still yours. Your DNA runs in their blood. You can even write it in the newspaper. You can even go and swear an affidavit that their names have been changed from Otieno to Karanja. But the fact remains, your DNA will run in their blood forever.
Yeah.
So I'll tell the parents, do not disown your child. Don't give up on your child. Walk with your child. If you are going through a challenge, get someone else. Take them to a therapy. Let them get assisted. And then just remind yourself, this child is yours forever. I always tell my children, I look them in the face and I tell them, either I am bright or not, I am your daddy. My DNA runs in your blood. You will be here forever. And that's even when I want to discipline them, and probably will be looking into the discipline. When I want to discipline my children, I will always ask myself, there are 3 F's guidelines. I will, 1, be very firm to them that I am first your father before I'm your buddy. I'm not your buddy here. So I would rather lose the buddy thing, but I'm your daddy. I must provide for you because I'm your daddy. Then the next thing I always ask myself, is it fair? You have done something wrong. The punishment I'm giving here, is it fair? I am withdrawing the TV, I am withdrawing the phone. Is it fair? And it doesn't matter the age you are at. And I have a daughter who is an adult, but you're in my house because you're still at the university, completing the university now. You're in my house. So there are some rules around here. So is it fair? And then I also tend to be friendly. In that, as I discipline, I'm not disciplining to kick out.
Yeah.
I am disciplining to, bring the child to me, not to push them away. It's not like I'm dealing with an enemy here.
Yeah.
No. I'm dealing with the faith to make her better so that she's closer to my heart. I'm dealing with the prof because she's my daughter and I want her closer to me. So I'm not disciplining to push away. So I also ask myself, am I also extending a hand of friendship? Besides being firm, fair, am I extending the hand of friendship to this child to bring them back home? So don't lose your child. They are yours. Even saying you disown, well, I could say you are simply exercising your jaws for something else. The baby remains yours forever. Yes.
All right. Now that Rev has mentioned about discipline, Prof, let's talk about best way to discipline a child. Of course, there isn't one, but let's just talk about how that has changed. We are now sparing the rod. Does it have any effect? Or as long as the child understands, this is what I did and this is wrong, then good character is being instilled in them.
I'm happy, Faith, you're talking about discipline and not punishment. Because what a parent needs to do is to be corrective to the child.
Yeah.
Because you're helping the child to be able to coexist within a new environment. And a child who is going to succeed because the child already has the values, has the beliefs and the behaviors that are going to make that child to be successful in life situations that the child is going to be contending with. Now, when it comes to discipline, just like Lev said, you need to be firm and fair. When you're disciplining, now you need to ask yourself, is this a case of discipline or is it a case of treatment? Meaning that the first thing that we need to do is to assess. Do an assessment. You're not doing an assessment as a professional. You're doing an assessment as a parent. You're thinking through, you're reflecting, and you're checking out whether we are dealing with a troubled child or we are dealing with an indisciplined child. Now, if it is a troubled child, we need to ask ourselves, is it something medical that the child may be presenting with?
Yeah.
Maybe the biochemistry of the child is making the child to behave the way the child is behaving. Like children who have special needs and disabilities are very aggressive. They can be very aggressive. Aggressive because of something more biochemical. We need to know about that. Or is the child troubled because we are a troubled family? Say like you are separating, going through separation or going through divorce, and children have not been prepared, they have not been helped to be able to go through the troubled experience of a marriage that is breaking. And you know, it can be very messy. It can be very messy when a marriage is breaking, and the people who are recipients of that mess are the children.
Sure.
And hardly are they prepared for how they handle that kind of a challenge. So we need to know, are they going through difficulties because a divorce is happening, where a father is not going to be present for the children? What happens to the boy children who are going to be lost in here because they don't know how to be men? Because in the midst of women, they are wondering, am I supposed to be behaving like this, or am I behaving like a woman, and all that? So being troubled, or do they have their own personalized issues that need to be attended to, so that we can't take a cane and beat trouble. When a child is presenting with issues, then that needs to be handled differently. As a parent, you can choose, I'm going to talk to the child, and I'm going to understand what is happening to the child, so that I can be able to respond appropriately to the challenges that the child is having. Or you can decide, let me refer to a psychologist or a counselor to help me understand this trouble and how we parents are going to be supportive of this child. But in cases of indiscipline, then you choose methods.
All right.
You choose whether you're going to ignore a child who wants attention all the time. Mom, mom. Yeah. They want to be given attention, even when there is no need of being given attention. And you're thinking, in a real world, who is going to be giving this child all this attention? Because the world will not give her or him all that attention, I will remit the attention, and I will tell the child the reason as to why I am remitting the attention.
Yeah.
So you discipline in that way by ignoring, and you are ignoring as a strategy. You're not just ignoring just like that because you don't want to handle that. No, you want to handle it, and handle it in this way.
Yeah.
But you can also discipline through making a child to do. Do they leave their bedrooms when their beds are not made and everything is on the floor? And even when they are removing their garments, they just stand, even if it's a panty, and they drop it and they step out.
Yeah.
And they leave it. So you can see the way it was worn is the way it has been left.
Yeah.
So what you're going to do is to agree with them. This is not a behavior that anyone is going to stomach even when they get married. Even friends would not stomach that kind of a behavior if they are staying in the same room and in the same space with a friend. They need to understand that as a ground rule.
Yeah.
And then now we can come to what do you do. So mom and dad can say, together we are saying, every one of you is going to be cleaning after themselves. We are not going to be cleaning after you, because cleaning after you means you're not picking the disciplines that you require for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So we agree in the morning, all of us are going to be doing cleaning. If you're going to school at, say, 7, can you take 30 minutes of cleaning after yourself and making sure things are in order and the bed has been made? You may not clean your clothes, but there are basic things that you can do when you're going to school.
Yeah.
But when you're not going to school, then no one is going to be cleaning your clothes. That is discipline. You're telling this individual, you got to be disciplined, you got to handle yourself proper.
Yeah.
And no one is going to handle you.
Indeed. Thank you, Prof. Time is really not on our side. I'd love us to talk about more on parenting and ensuring that you bring up the child the right way. But as we conclude today's episode, let's talk about how being a distant parent impacts your influence on your child. Yeah, because of course you can be a distant parent in terms of sending the child to a boarding school, or even work. you could be working in Mombasa, the child lives in Nairobi for different reasons. How does this impact your influence? Briefly, as we come to a conclusion, we'll start with you, Rev.
Briefly, Faith, one, parenting is a very emotional thing. It's something very close to the heart of many of us.
Yeah.
Even to the viewers, because we don't stop parenting. Even when you're a grandmother, a grandfather, you still find yourself parenting.
Yes.
So parenting is something that is very close to the heart of many of us. And distant parenting is very challenging because at one, the child equates the time spent with them as love. The child knows love is time spent with them.
Yes.
Anytime you spend time with the child, you find them very happy when they know you're in the environment. The moment you are away, and even if you tell them I love you, that is still limited, even if you send them goodies. And that's why when a child is still young, especially in stage 1 up to about 12, 13 years there, it's very, very important, because that the formative stage is very important for the parent to be present to the child. So if you can sacrifice as much as you can to create time to be physically present for your child, it is very important. It will help you not to be disconnected to your child. But if you must be far away, there are many things today to help you stay in touch with your child. Is it that video call you're going to be doing instead of doing an ordinary call? Is it a video call so that the child can see you, so that you can discuss together, so that you can even tell the child now it's time to go to bed, and the child rises up? There could be circumstances that can force you to be away, because maybe you can be outside the country working, you can be in another town or another center, and maybe you do not want to move the child into that environment where you are in.
Yeah. And
it is very taxing to both the parent and the child. Try to break that, especially today with the social media that we looked into the other time, into the social media. Because ask yourself, can I put on a video, face me, so that we can talk seeing each other with my child? That will help to, narrow the gap a little bit. But I can tell you, physical parenting cannot be equated with the distant parenting.
All right. Yes. Prof, I'd really love to hear from you, but sadly, time is not on our side. I think as we conclude, definitely leave what would like our viewers to take out from today's discussion, or just generally on parenting.
I think parenting is one thing that people need to commit to, and just like Lefred has said, distant parenting denies the child a lot in terms of feeling accepted and feeling that they are appreciated by parents. So kindly be there for your children, unless maybe there are reasons that can be explained that would take you away not to be available for your children.
All right. Ref?
My take, parents, please, children are a gift from God. Please, the seed of the womb is a blessing, says the Bible. Please appreciate this gift, nurture the gift, take time to be the gift, love it, because parenting can never be delegated. It is your sole responsibility. God bless you.
I know there's so much more still for us to cover, but dear viewer, if you have any questions, please visit our social media pages, CAC TV Kenya on Facebook and YouTube. Under this video, leave your questions there, and definitely we'll get back to you. Thank you so much for watching this episode. My name is Faith Kaulu. Till next time, goodbye.